So what had happened was...
I'll break these couches in.
Maybe open it up a new one on the start of that.
Welcome to the NEPA Scene Podcast, the only live streaming face-to-face arts and entertainment podcast covering northeastern Pennsylvania, offering a true alternative voice in local media. We're coming to you from the NEPA Scene studio underneath Center City Print in downtown Scranton. I'm Rich Howells, the founder and editor of NEPA Scene, and tonight we're here with Wilkes-Barre reggae ska band Elephants Dancing. They're hosting the second annual Camp Kevin Fest at Pisano Family Wines in Hunlock Creek this Saturday, July 12th. So we're talking about how they founded this family-friendly reggae rock festival and what they learned from their first year. Curating this year's lineup, their new album, The Chronicles of Kevin and Ringo, dropping this Friday. Independently planning and promoting their own tours, selling soft bananas, and much more. So please join our conversation with your questions and comments down below. We'll get to those later on in the show. Before we dive in, I want to thank our sponsor, Center City Print, who provided us with this great studio space. As you can see, we've made some upgrades to the space recently from the last time you have tuned into the podcast, including these huge couches that were incredibly difficult to get down here. You guys are actually our first guests to sit on them.
That's unfortunate.
Feels great.
And I just cleaned them too, so damn. Use promo code NEPA Scene in person or online at centercityprint.com for 10% off. Center City Print can bring your ideas to life in 4 locations: Scranton, Old Forge, Kingston, and Hazleton. These one-stop shops are locally owned and operated, offering high-quality printed products, copy and print services, and design solutions to help you, your small business, your nonprofit organization, your band, your art project, your event, or any venture thrive. Use promo code NEPA Scene in person or online at centercityprint.com for 10% off. All right, so let's start by introducing yourselves and your position in the band.
Top.
Tom, you want to go first?
Yeah. My name's Adam. I'm the saxophone player of the band.
That's all you got?
That's all I got.
My name is Michael. I play bass and sing.
My name is Danny. I sing and play guitar.
So how did you first discover reggae or ska music?
Dirty Heads. Like them dirty boys.
Yeah, I think, so Mike, the one summer we linked back up and, we started trying to write some music together, and Mike put me onto the Dirty Heads, and their first album was really cool because it took a lot of the influences that we have and listen to and just kind of mashed them into this really cool blend of genres. And that's how we started. It's a wormhole after that.
Jason Mraz is also one of the artists that I like that had like that reggae feel. I remember freaking out and calling like 12 people when I realized he dropped like a whole reggae album, and it's actually awesome.
It's incredible.
No, it is. It's so good.
These guys introduced me to the reggae, like, ska genre. I didn't really know about it. I joined them, like, 7 years in when they were already in, and I'm only about 3 years in now, and they kind of turned me on to all the artists in our genre, and I've been, like, it's like, no looking back ever since.
Tell me how you joined the band.
He texted me on Instagram. Want to join a reggae band?
No.
I was like, okay.
No? I said, you look like a saxophone player that wants to join a reggae ska band. And you were like,
I was desperate for work. So here we are.
And I was like, meet me.
Still desperate for work.
Meet me at Buffalo Wild Wings. And then we couldn't get a seat, so we had to go to Perkins. And I was like, we pay well, bro.
You get one blueberry muffin per weekend.
And a coupon for a free hug.
So what was it about this music that spoke to you that said, like, I want to actually do this?
Weed. Positivity and upliftful vibes.
I think for me it was really the genre blending that really fit my style, because it was a lot of things that I grew up on all in one place, and we could do punk. You can rap on a song. You can get melodic, and there's all sorts of things that you could do with the subgenres, and it's something that I like a lot about the genre.
The drums are sick too in most reggae music. That was like always the thing I liked. It's what usually keeps me from listening to like a couple other kinds of genres. It's one that's consistently cool.
I really didn't know about how much horns were involved in a lot of this genre, especially like ska. I knew there were horns in, but then like the heavier reggae stuff, I really wasn't introduced to like the heavy horns until like a lot later. And so getting to hear all that and hear the different aspects, I come from more of like a jazz realm, I guess, of that scene. So I'm kind of introduced to it through there, which just the horn, and then hearing the vocals and all the other instruments go off the horns and like the balance that they have, like it just took me away.
So the band has been around for 10 years now.
Happy anniversary, buddy.
Let's talk about how you guys first got started doing it.
It's two cajones in the middle of a giant field. Me and Danny locked eyes and we're like, we're doing it. And then we started a band.
Yeah, no, it was really that same thing. Like, we started trying to write some songs. Mike put me on the Dirty Heads in this genre, and it kind of snowballed from there. And we started listening to more and more and doing more things. And
3 words: the Burning Barrel. That was our first show ever in the middle of the woods in Mansfield, Pennsylvania.
it was.
How did that show go?
There was like 3 people there, and I had the time of my life.
We played Sunday morning.
Sunday morning, you played some. What was that? Was the little fancy guitar boy? What you do? You hear this one that you did by yourself.
Sloth's Revenge.
That was one. Yeah. Something like that. It was a good time.
Now, is there a story behind the name, or is it just like these words sound good together?
There's retrospective stories.
Okay.
We'll get there. We'll save the goods.
So you've had a few different lineups over the years, but this one feels pretty solid.
It is home.
Yeah, we really settled in.
The touch just feels right,
Ever since I joined the band about 3 or so years ago, we've been through like a couple different like a horn player or two and like a couple drummers, but ever since like the guys we have now, like with Tom and Dan, who's been in the band a little bit longer than me, we flow really well together. We make really good music together live, and like feels really good wherever we go.
It's also about having members that aren't just here to play music, like they want to be a part of the band.
Yeah.
And I think that's why we sit really comfortably with the lineup we have right now. Is everyone wants to be involved in Elephants, not just playing shows,
So when anyone, I think, thinks of reggae music in northeastern Pennsylvania, George Wesley has to come to mind. Was he an influence at all? Did you guys meet him or anything like that before?
We did his tribute before, and then my brother actually plays in a band with his son.
Oh, okay.
Which is cool. So I knew that
there's a
name
little
for a while.
connection
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I didn't really discover the rootsier side of things until, we were a couple years in, because it was, my first experience in the genre, so I wasn't really well aware. And honestly, before we started playing in this band, I wasn't really well aware of the music scene in general. I never really went to shows growing up. It was like I listened to a lot of music, but I was really out of touch with how deep of a music scene we have. And over the past 10 years of, as we've grown to be a part of it, I started to learn so much more about all the music that's around us, and it's cool. And you're a huge part of that too, and you do all the things to highlight those bands and those people, which
Good man.
Oh, thank you.
brings a lot of those bands to light. So it's
With
cool.
really nice couches too.
Very nice couch. Very heavy couches.
Yeah.
It's that good wood.
It's that good cushion.
So when a lot of your music feels so fun and upbeat, like you said, is that a reflection of your natural personalities? Does this put you in a good mood to write and play this music?
Your smile is not for you; it is for the people in front of you. It's like this kind of thing,
Well, the hell is that supposed to
When I teach kids, when we teach kids and stuff for school, and it's like 7:30 in the morning, like you don't want to be there, but like if you're miserable, they're gonna be miserable. So when you walk in, you check yourself. You're like, all right, you know.
So what Mike's saying is he's miserable at heart, but he just writes music about being positive.
Right.
I run around like a chimpanzee on something on a spoiled banana.
I think relative to lyricism and topics and stuff like that, so we had 2 full-length albums that we wrote that were out previously, and we ended up taking them down and rebranding and, you know, going a little more ska punk with things. And I think one of the major changes in our writing style was focusing more on what we're saying, and not just like how we're saying it or the music, but like focusing on the lyrical content. And I think with that whole thing comes into play a lot more. Where, I mean, so this album we have coming out tomorrow covers so many ranges of topics, where it's, you know, being on tour and having fun with your friends, and you know, getting older and things are changing in different ways, and dealing with anxiety, and it's just like a whole range of topics that we wanted to like
Touch.
Yeah, they kind of just like, you know, once we started focusing on lyrical content, things kind of just like came out, and I think it represents us well.
So your first now official full length was Chill Like Penguins. So that was released in 2023, and that has 16 tracks on it. So that's a lot of music. So tell us a little bit about that before we get into the new
15
one.
in a corral.
We just write a lot of music. It's our niche.
Yeah, I think the first album was what, 19? Well, the first album we ever made was like 19. I think the second one was 15.
Like the 2 that we took down.
Yeah, that one's 15 with the corral.
Yeah, so we're like, writing wise, we're 70, 80 songs deep between the 2 of us.
Yeah, I got this like master list in my notes on my phone. There's literally like 20 that we just don't have released, but we still play all the time sometimes. Yeah. You know? Lots of voice memos.
I was gonna say, what are maybe some of the more popular songs from that one? The ones that really stick with people.
Spotify was like, we like free.
Yeah.
Free.
We're like, okay, word.
Dude, it was crazy. So it was, you know, we released the album, and it was our first legitimate tour, and we bought the van, and we started doing the whole thing, and the algo just took free and just dumped it into people. And
Dumped it into people.
Yes, dumped it into people.
That's wild. we were at Surfside Live, which is like a little Joe Samba thing there, but we had like, it's cool to hear people request songs when we're like states away. We don't know who the person is, and they're like, play Rip This Bong, which is a funny one because we wrote that like at Mansfield.
Yeah.
Years and years and years ago. Wild.
Yeah, it is cool.
So that one kind of sticks, I think. People like bongs.
And I mean, Tiki Time.
Tiki Time is still, it's this, yep.
For sure.
Teaching people how to do triplets one day at a time.
Now, I want to talk about, you guys have built quite the local following over the years. How did you go about doing that? And how did that help you with kind of starting to break out of the area as
The
well?
Mormon technique. We just, you like reggae? I'm just like, you like bones?
Dude, so we started playing at the other side.
Okay.
Before that shut down. And I have a
Miss that place.
Yeah, that was a cool spot, man. I have a distinct.
You did both sides, just the one side.
Zeus
paid us a visit on the other side.
The other side.
Yeah. I have a distinct memory of how when I found out what being an original band is like.
There's no one here.
Yeah, I invited like every single person I knew, and I was like, dude, there's gonna be at least 50 people. And we played the show, and there was maybe 7 people. And it was a lot of that for years. And then it kind of progressed into, okay, now I'm begging all my friends to come, and now there's 100 people there, right? But they're like, I have to go and talk to every single one of these people, like, yo, come to the show, you know? And the more we started playing in different markets and focusing on growing in different markets, the more it turned over back home. And these days, it's not just like us dragging our friends to shows. It turned into people that actually like our music, that are, you know, showing up to hear our music, not because we're dragging them to the show. And so it took 10 years to turn over into that.
Wow.
But
What kept you motivated that whole time?
I wasn't there.
We're very stubborn and persistent.
They are stubborn. He really wants to have it his way. Like like Danny like really has like a vision for this thing, and he wants like to really, really, really see it through. And
I just like to be on the opposite side. So he's like red, and I'm like, but why not blue? He's just like,
You like to play devil's advocate.
yeah.
Yes,
The horns and all the red and stuff.
now it was one of those things where, like, you know, I went to school for, you know, these two kids studying music. I went to school for physics and mechanical engineering.
I'm older than you.
Yeah, chill. And then I kind of put that aside to pursue playing music. And for me, it was like, if I'm going to not, what the I was like, if I'm gonna put this to the side and not do this right now, I need to fully commit to playing music. Like, I'm not gonna give this up right now if I'm not fully committed. And so we fully committed.
Now, how much of this popularity do you owe to Soft Bananas?
You ever check out what's inside? No, I'm just kidding. I would say that the Soft Bananas motivate us.
Wait, tell them about our first VIP session ever. So it's based around the Soft Banana. So when a lot of the artists that we play with, you know, they run VIPs and they do acoustic sets and different things, and you know, we were like, let's do one for one of our hometown shows. Let's do one at the Jazz Cafe. So we're like, how do we make it unique? And
You ever go to Disney? You know?
Once when I was a kid.
So I wanted to make this experience, right? So I made this, like, it turned out to be like Soft Banana Zumba. Seriously, it kind of did. But, like, we basically had, like, 10 VIP people, you know, and the night before, I think it was literally the night before the concert, I made this, like, 8 or 10 minute-ish track. I have it on my phone. I can actually play a couple seconds of it, but...
Also, to preface, this man makes dubstep and lo-fi.
Okay.
So...
It starts with, like, this beautiful thing, you know, and it's birds chirping and stuff. And then I made like a talkover thing where it's like it's, you know, it was my voice, but I changed it so it sounds like, gives you like that Disney vibe, like you experience something. They're like, who is that? Who did that voice thing? But it's like, welcome to your Soft Banana experience. You have just released received your first Soft Banana, and it goes over like all the techniques and all the different dance moves. And there's like a couple puns in there, like puns. I'm a punny kind of guy, but it's just like, you know, like telling you to stretch it, and then don't stretch it yourself or your Soft Banana too thin, and like that kind of thing, you know. And it works out really well because, like, the reality of it, if you do the VIP thing, before you know it, you're just like holding a Soft Banana, staring at 5 dudes staring at you with a Soft Banana. It's just music. We're just straight faced and they're laughing, and we're just like, you know, it's good. It's good. It worked out really well. I'll have to play it for you later.
I think one of the things that has made us special in recent years in the scene locally is I feel like you can show up to one of our shows alone and immediately be comfortable and leave with friends. Yeah. And there's a lot of positive energy at our shows, and it comes from things like that. When you go to a VIP session and suddenly 25 people are swinging Soft Bananas to some dubstep. And it's like, okay, it can't get any weirder than this. So, you kind of break the ice early. Swing Soft Bananas.
It's good. I think that the music part of that VIP, we literally used boom whackers.
Yes, we
kinda
played a
cool.
song with Boomwhackers.
Wow.
Yeah,
We played Edge of Town with
Edge of Town.
Boomwhackers.
It's just the whole bass line was just played on I have like bass Boomwhackers. They're like taller than Adam.
But yeah, I think it adds to like the silliness that we build on that to make people comfortable. You know, we just want everyone
And ourselves though too, because like I'm a little goofy of a guy, you know. So I don't want to hide out and be like, yes, show up in a suit and stuff. Unless we do one of the Halloween, I'll wear a suit for that.
like wants to go skeleton suits.
No, I want to be a skeleton in a suit. There's a big difference from a skeleton suit and a skeleton in a suit. You know,
I feel you.
skeleton suit sounds kind of cool though. I've never seen one of those.
Well, there's a lot of music that there's a lot of serious music out there, and there's a lot of music that maybe takes itself too seriously.
Oh,
So
for
it's kind
sure.
of nice to have a
Yeah.
break from that and to like go out to a show and like legitimately have fun.
Yeah.
Like I've been to shows where everyone just has had this, stone face the entire time, and
Those
they
are my
walk
favorite
out like,
band picks.
I had a fun time. That was a really good show.
Good
Really?
shit, bro.
Are you sure?
The cool thing about it too is like we, especially in this new album and stuff, we still talk about things that are like serious and legitimate sometimes, and we hit those topics, but the silliness makes you like comfortable with being uncomfortable almost. And
Is that what you tell them?
something like that. Whatever. It was off the top.
It's good. That was a good one. I gotta show you a picture of this lake. This lake title. It's wild.
Oh yeah, I'm looking forward to that.
You wanna do it right now?
Yes.
All right, hold up.
I don't think you're actually prepared.
we
for
were
it. It's
driving-
pretty crazy.
we were
Here's the
driving
deal. You
to
gotta
New
say it though.
Hampshire.
You gotta give me your 100% best attempt at saying this lake.
Break this off like that. What the hell you hiding?
Don't worry about it.
I'm not even sure if I got Pisano Family Wines. Is that
Pisano.
Pisano.
Oh,
Pisano.
this is gonna be fun. All right, I'm coming over. No, I want to be on my knees for this.
Green screen.
Shh. Give me your best attempt. You gotta read it like I was just like, this is my last name, and you introduced me for my diploma.
All right. This is Lake Chambanangangamung.
Pretty good. I like fell asleep saying this on the way back from Surfside. I was like, yeah. I don't really know what that was for, but I just wanted to make sure I got that out of my system.
He's been showing it to everybody. I mean,
Yeah, we saw Joe Samba and Joey Harcum yesterday at Ocean City, and he was talking about some serious stuff, and as soon as he walked away, I'm like, yo, say this lake. And they're like, oh, that's in Massachusetts. I'm like, say it. Joe was like, nah. Joey was like, he went for it.
It's what, Chumbawamba's cousin, maybe, or something?
So me and Dan saw it, our trombone player, and when we were driving by, he said it, and he was like, Lake, what? And then we had to drive past it, and I was like, looking at my phone, he thought I was being serious. I was like, oh, it's Eagle's backside. And he's like, really? I'm like, nah. But then they told me last night that it actually means I fish on this side, you fish on that side, no one fishes in the middle.
oh,
Whoa, right?
that's pretty.
I like Eagle's backside better. But I was like, that is definitely more realistic.
I sincerely, from a cultural perspective, want to know how that comes across through that word.
Right.
How does that mean that?
A bong, a wong, a bong. Something like that.
Belly laugh.
All right, I can't. If I say it one more time, I'm gonna be stuck. You ask me a question about something else, and I'm just gonna.
All right, Rich.
So from what I could tell, you guys manage yourselves and kind of book your own shows and tours and things like that. Where did you gain the knowledge to do that, and what lessons have you learned over the years to make that easier on yourselves now that you guys are, you guys have been doing it, you're on a tour right now, actually.
I did it for a while, and then I called Danny one day. Boop, 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 boop. Yo, I can't do this shit no more. I get nervous ordering pizza. You gotta take over, bro. Nah, he's good at it.
Dude,
he's
honestly,
a businessman. His last name's Salesman.
it's
So
sales.
it's
Go ahead.
Salesman.
Whatever. I don't think there was really any knowledge to be gained. I just started calling people and emailing people. And dude, a lot of forms filled out, emails sent, cold calls. I think one of the most effective tactics that I recommend highly to other people is find bands that are a similar size to you and or slightly bit bigger. See where they play, especially if you've played with them before. Target those venues, call those bands out, saying, you know, we've played with people that you've had at your venue before. To show them that, like, okay, now I know what I'm dealing with if I'm a venue owner. It's like, okay, this genre-ish, these are the people, okay. And then a couple of the things that are just like, have a decent website, just clear information, make it easy. A
great EPK.
Yeah.
EPK send out.
The EPK is it's nice to collect all that information into one place, again, just making it easy. And we just have our EPK on our website. It's just like a page on the site. Another thing is that email that you send to venues, there's like a copy paste to it, but every single one gets rewritten in a certain way. Like, you know, we've played in these markets around you, or we know these people that you associate with. I always fine tune it to direct it at them so they know they're not just getting a copy paste, like I'm talking to them. And that's helped us land a lot of stuff, and just a lot of networking. Like, life booking is just networking, and using those connections.
It's nice too seeing like the way Danny does it, and then seeing other bands who we did connect with kind of just do the same thing. Like, go and book. We know they didn't play the venue before. We play that venue, and then we see, oh, they're playing that venue that we played like a year ago. That's awesome. Like, yeah.
Yeah, it's cool.
As opposed to me, I was trying to get us this Harry's Hoedown in Maine, and I was just like, I've never been a hoedown before. Here's a video or a picture of Danny crowd surfing. Can we come play? We played it. We did. We played it.
We did play it.
It took like 35 emails, and that last one was the one. He's just like, all right. Okay.
You were really insistent on that hoedown.
Yeah, I was like, I have never been to a hoedown before. So... And it wasn't a hoedown at all, which is kind of... I wasn't really happy about it. It was like a weed farm, and it was on a hill, and I was like, I don't even understand how things grow on this. And then my tent was here, and then it was here when I was sleeping.
Yeah, you're trying to sleep, and the whole place is a hill.
Yeah.
So it's like, you're gonna, like, you either got to sleep, like, feet down the hill, or, like, I don't know, man.
You're rolling.
Yeah.
The actual tent moved. Like, you were here at night, down here. But I remember this, I'll never forget this. I woke up in the morning, and on the bottom of that hill, at like 9 a.m., the guy's like, free grilled cheese? And I'm like, oh. I think I had like 3 of them. And he's like, there's weed in those. And I was like, no. Yes, no.
Might want to open with that for...
Yeah. I love grilled cheese, you know?
Who doesn't?
There's got to be somebody out there. You like grilled cheese?
Love it.
Oh, I'm surprised. Sorry, as you were saying.
So you've been traveling up and down the East Coast on the Mojo Mayhem tour since May, and you have dates booked out through August and the beginning of September, including shows in Florida. How has that been going, and what are you looking forward to coming up?
Honestly, I'm going to be candid. This year, I kind of was going after doing some more support shows. And so I held off on booking for a while. And then we didn't really land that many. And April came around, March, April, and I was like, okay, we need to book a tour. So I pulled it out and I was like, okay, here it is. And
I got you. He was like,
somehow it's been our best so far.
Yeah.
It's cool, man. Like,
great venues, great people, great other bands we've been playing with have been like fantastic. Like,
except for that one place that took our food when we were playing, because they were like, it was just sitting there, and I was like, what?
No, for real, it was frustrating.
Yeah.
We had to pay full price for meals, and then while we're playing, our food's behind the merch table.
Which is like, okay, you take it, whatever, but don't be like, It was just left out. We're like, bro. It was like on top of one of our shirts. What do you mean?
Mind you, there's like 15 people there, and it's behind the merch table. It's pretty obvious it's our food.
Yeah. And you're on stage watching people eat your food?
No, they don't get it. Throw it away.
They're taking it and throwing it away.
Yeah, they were like the staff is just cleaning up.
They're like,
Oh
why
my
don't you
God.
put it by your distortion? Like pedal, delay, distortion, burger.
It was even more frustrating too because like we had to pay full price for meals, and then they took it. And I'm like,
Yeah.
It was good food.
thank
though.
you.
It was good food.
It was good food. That's why it was frustrating. But yeah, somehow it's been our best run yet. I think one of the things that so Joe Samba is headlining Camp Kevin. We just played with him yesterday down at Secrets, and he gave me a piece of advice a couple months ago, and he said, the less you chase those opening slots, the more they're just gonna come. Focus on playing your own shows. Just go out and do the thing. Mm-hmm. And if you don't spend all your effort and time chasing those opportunities, they will come.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so we've been kind of focusing on just that. And I took that mindset for the summer. And it's cool, man. Like, we're developing, like, I don't even like to call them fans, like friends in legitimate markets.
Homies.
That, like, you know, when we see them, like, you know, we're excited to see each other, and it's like, you know, we're 3-4 states away, and these people are like waiting for us to come back, and it's cool because we're developing, you know, legitimate markets.
Yeah.
And
Especially this year when we've been pretty much all new markets besides probably Ocean City.
yeah, we did Ocean City a lot this year, which has been phenomenal. Secrets has been giving us a lot of really cool opportunities, and things have been going really well down there. We made a lot of cool friends down there. So
I've heard that's a really cool venue. I think doesn't Nowhere Slow play there? They've had some success there, I believe.
Probably in the club room, I think so. Because
Yeah,
there's a
that
couple
makes
different.
sense.
There's a couple different stages.
Oh, okay.
yeah,
We played in the club room a couple times. The one, like, I learned for the first time that it snows in Ocean City, which blew my mind. The guy literally sent me a picture to our
wow,
thing. He was
it
like,
was
"This is for Mike." And I was like, "Whoa, it does snow there." And then we had a really good mac and cheese at that Mac and Brews Day. You like mac and
Let's
cheese?
play a mac and cheese festival. It was fantastic.
Mac and cheese festival. They work on that, man. I want next year. Camp Kevin brings the cheese. It's perfect. Ain't no holes in that Swiss.
where's the mute button? We talk here, we don't talk
It's in
here.
Adam's pocket. You won't
The
get it.
lake tried to tell you, dude.
Trying to want a bang bang bang. Trying to want a bang bang bang.
So it always helps to have new music to promote while on the road. So let's get into that. We have a segment called The Breakdown, where we go track by track on an artist's latest release to hear the inspiration and stories behind each song. So this can be about the lyrics, the composition, the recording, all of it. Whatever you think is the most interesting aspect to talk
I
about.
like this part.
Thank you.
I
think a lot of the bands do. So I've stuck with this one.
Yeah,
This is we've been doing this for a little while, probably since we started in this studio, and I think it's people seem to really like it. And it allows you to kind of talk about whatever you want to talk about. If you want to talk about some of the bands on here have talked about like the lyrics in depth, like this is specifically about this and whatever, and then other ones are like, I want to talk about the recording of it. So it was like the story of like how they got in the room and made the song happen and that kind of stuff. So it's different for everybody. Your second full-length album, The Chronicles of Kevin and Ringo, will be released tomorrow, July 11th. All major streaming platforms, I assume. All right. So let's get into it.
Well,
Kevin's song is the first one.
To preface the whole thing, when
Yes.
it comes to recording, we have recorded everything with Joe Loftus and Jay Preston, and they are great friends, and they treat us amazing, and they make us sound fantastic.
Shout out JL Studios.
Love JL Studios. Some of the best local records come out of
Absolutely.
Kevin's song's a good one to start with.
You stay up till 12 and listen to it tonight.
there. I've been listening to it all day.
I said
Oh!
I got a little preview.
That's
So
nice.
I have given at least a listen to all of the songs once, and I think I got about maybe halfway through before we had to.
Word.
Kevin's song's a good one to start with.
Sheds tear.
So when we did our first tour 2 years ago, I just had a baby, and I was trying to navigate that, and I was looking for programming and engineering work, and because I had not been working for 3 or 4 years during COVID, people are getting laid off and people are just graduating school, so no one's looking at my resume. So I was like, yeah, let's book a tour. So book the tour. Like, okay, how do we get there? So we bought a van. And first day we gotta load up the van.
Was it pre-show or was it before show?
This is pre-show.
Pre-show, yeah. This was just getting everything ready.
Yes, before
that day though.
Yeah.
Yes. So we're pulling out all the cables so we could see everything we have. We're just pulling everything out in the driveway in the yard, labeling stuff. And I was like, yo, Mike, I'm going to move the van and make more room for cables.
Summer, you got any crunch effects that you could cue on?
Working on it.
Yeah, we're thinking about adding a little soundboard.
Right here.
Solid. I moved the van over and the bass in a soft case.
You would have broke the hard case too, bro. I'd have been out of hard case in itself. We went over this. Me and the bass player, me and Nick from Big Dick Nick. Whoa. Stop banana, bro. Stop banana.
I ran over his bass. I destroyed it. It's terribly sad. His brother had gotten him this custom handmade bass for Christmas. It was beautiful. It was a beautiful, beautiful bass.
God knows I like puns, and he's like, yo, that was, you made that's made out of crushed walnut wood. Now extra crushed, bitch. It's like, I'm glad you got this. I got them extra blessings. Thanks.
Yeah. So then, so that hook, it talks about our first tour. That song's about our first tour, and the hook goes, it started on the day I ran over Mike's bass.
And my verse goes, starting on the day that I needed a new bass. And then on the way, Dan's not here, so I apologize, Dan. I'm sorry, buddy. But he peed in a bottle because we drive, and, everybody's bladder's different. And he spilled the bottle all over the van.
Dan's got to piss.
Yeah, man. And then they always forget about Ringo. Always. That's our trailer.
Our trailer.
So Kevin, we named Kevin. We birthed him with a name, right? After his service.
Shout out Mike Williams.
And then Ringo, it says Ringo on it, So we were on the way to a show the one time, and we left the trailer door down, and we drove up to Duncan, and
we drove
all the way up
2
315.
miles up 315.
So I was like, that's no drag, and no one's ever
All
nice
hills,
puns.
up and down, nothing fell out of the trailer.
We packed good.
Somehow.
Danny's like, I packed good. I packed them good.
So when we were playing in Norfolk. God damn it. And
Norfolk. You guys say Norfolk.
So the place we were playing at it's called Chicho's. It's on the back side of the Norva. And so the owner manager took me into the Norva so I could see it, and on the step it said Norfolk, and I was like, huh? They're like, yeah, that's how you say Norfolk around here. It's Norfolk. I was like, oh, interesting. So in my verse I said we got Norfucked in Norfolk because we got blasted that day. But yeah, just stories about our first tour.
Yeah, it kind of just sums up the entire tour and all the crazy things that happened.
Adam blacked out in Georgia.
Again.
Second song. We'll move on, right?
Let him get that.
Oh, you got it. Go ahead.
It's Cheer the Fuck Up.
Cheer the fuck up.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Mike.
Positivity.
Talk about the song.
Oh, okay. Well, I mean, I don't know. It's like the couple. I like 2 verses in the beginning, and a lot of it's everybody's always going at people about a bunch of different stuff that has nothing to do with them, and it's just kind of like that.
There's also written in the heavy politics. Months, a couple.
But it's one of those look, I'm not saying anybody's right or anybody's wrong. It's just just make sure you know where you stand within these topics that you're preaching about and coming at people about. Has nothing to do with you. Just back off a little bit unless they're like help, then you can help them. Yeah. Which we don't even say it once in the song, but it's it is the heart of that song. It's just if you're happy, be happy, man. That helps people more than you would think,
And then our homie Breton from Land of Panda absolutely walked on a verse.
It depends out of Ohio.
Panda Elephant's dancing. It's like my favorite part of that song. It is my favorite part.
Dude, it was cool. We got to link up with them for the second time, but we actually hung out for the first time, and it was right after he did the feature, and we got super close in a span of 2 days. It was really cool.
Now we have a Snapchat group, and it's great.
Yeah. We're actually, I think,
You sent the turtle in that like 50 times in one day. What?
Called Fat Titty Butt Sluts.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, Fat Titty Butt Sluts. Fat Titty Butt Sluts.
That's the name of the group chat.
Are you surprised? It ain't just me. He made it.
We may or may not be doing a Halloween show at the Jazz Cafe.
Skeleton suits.
And Land of Panda's going to come play with us here.
Nice. Okay.
So
You like Candy Kids?
That song is it's kind of a personal favorite of a lot. At least I know it's his personal favorite. It's probably my personal favorite.
I like the horns. These boys let me write horn parts, and it's very fun to do. And I get to use my composition vibes with that because I love classical music and studied that in school. So being able to do that and have horn players who read really well and are cool with doing that is a blessing. See, he looks out sometimes, and then sometimes he's just like your bass. Bounce.
My roommate from college called me the one day, and he was just on some shit because that's my buddy Jake, you know, my cousin. He's like, yo, this would be a bar. He said something about money running thin like it's on Ozempic. I was like, yo, you know what? That is a bar. So everyone's been on the Ozempic kick, so I was like, you know what? I'm starting this verse with that.
I heard heads get bigger when you. I heard it. I don't know.
What?
I was told, yeah, like makes your head bigger. Okay, stop.
Green screen.
You made me say it again. Yeah,
Yeah. That song's great. And Mike's right. The horn line is fantastic. It's fun to play, and and shout out Dan Coyle. He plays trumpet around here.
Yeah.
A local guy. And we got him on the record.
Local dog.
And he literally came to the studio, recorded everything in maybe 4 hours.
Nice.
Just done. We were
Yeah, Mike said, okay, half of these songs you're going to hit the highest note that you possibly can.
Yeah. Mike wasn't there, but Dan was verbally assaulting Mike in the studio.
Yeah, okay. Well, I was in a concert band once, and they like to be the forefront of everything, and they're like, oh, I can go. So he liked it.
But he killed it.
Yeah, he killed it. He can
and
do
he's
it.
playing out with us at Camp Kevin, the first time we've had trumpet in a year. So
Nice.
it's gonna be nice. No, like a year.
But we had
July.
trumpet last year.
July.
We had
Moving
trumpet
on.
last year.
Take it, do your thing.
Next one is Day Out of Hell.
Slash, right? Or did you not do that?
No.
It's on the folder. I did it on
Full
the district.
title is Day Out of Hell. I thought about you. Right? And I
Okay.
like this concept of having this title where you're like, oh, this is going to be rough. Like, you're getting bad memories. But it's not. It's like the opposite of that, where it's like talking about like being in your head and feeling like taking all these steps. You're not going anywhere and you're having a miserable day and you stepped on poop and like all that kind of stuff. But then you're like, but I have you. You know, at the end, like, I thought about you. And that kind of like makes it feel better. Everything's worth it when you think about this one person that you have or whoever that may be, kind of thing, you know?
That's sweet.
Heavy on the
Thanks.
heavy on the dealing with anxiety and different feelings of that, and tying back into that. It's a little dancey.
It's a fun little
Dancing.
pick-me-up song. It really is.
I did my
It's a fun
octave
little
boy. I'm
pick-me-up
gonna bam,
song.
boom, 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 you know, that like disco vibe almost. When you see Danny do that, you know it's dancey.
Next up, we have Pop Punk Love Song, which I picked up on the V-Spot reference.
Yeah.
Hey!
Shout out
Hey!
V-Spot.
Yeah.
I met my girlfriend Rebecca at the V Spots. That's what that one is about, and that's kind of like a
okay.
verbatim true story of what had happened. What had happened was, she says that all the time. I love it. It's my favorite. No, but that's like all true. You know, I think it was emo night or something like that. So we had like a 30-minute time slot.
It was
We,
it was Cabby's emo night.
We were about to dip because we had to go somewhere.
Shout out Joe Gavs.
Oh yeah. we had to go
Every
somewhere,
now and then.
and Danny was like, I'll take a triple shot. We'll take your stuff out, and we'll go. And we're like packing the trailer, and then I went back in with this boy, and I was like, I gotta find this girl that came outside earlier, and eventually I found her. I've been dating her for like a year. No, she was right in front of me. I was like, I see her, and I was like, oh my god, wait. You know, it worked. Then I went back on that place like 3 times to talk to her. It was cool. And his face is cute too, like kind of perfect. She got the perfect bangs, you know.
Yeah, I wrote my verse about the way that me and Erica met. We were working at the same restaurant, and yeah, I used to spend extra time working at the restaurant just to like try hanging out with her, and I was like, hey, coming out with my friends, we started, things developed, and it was just a little verse about my girl.
Nice.
A little ditty.
It's his personal favorite melody that he wrote for the album.
Actually, that pre-chorus is one of my favorite moments in the album.
It's cool. It's just like this Lydian thing where it has like a chord with the sharp. I think it's actually 11th. I thought it was a 9th for a while, and then I was playing on the piano. I was like, it's this nice little 11th where the melody like lands on the 11th, but which is usually kind of jarring, but it comes from it descends down to it after a leap, and it's cool. It's neat. I think it's literally like you go E minor, and then it's a C, but you play the F sharp.
You're giving it away. You're giving it away.
Yeah. Yeah, E minor, when you hit the C, you land on the F sharp on it, which is like a sharp 4 if you put it inside of the chord, but that upsets him because he's a jazz boy, so it's the 11. But it's very nice. It's very nice. It's like, has that like, kind of thing. On the piano, it's like, but a good tier, on like the bass tier. So I'm doing this side. It's one of those. But yeah, no, I like that.
And then I was tracking guitar in the studio with Jay, and I was like, dude, I'm going to do some octaves. It's going to be cool. And then, yeah, that's how that happened.
We wrote in Florida, too, which is cool. I wrote my part in Florida.
Yeah, they kind of gave themselves kind of a challenge that when we were in Florida, they're like, we got to write a song when we're down here. And I'm sleeping one morning. I wake up. First thing I do is like, okay, I have to go to the pool.
Skashasa.
So we walk down to the pool, and Mike and Tom are sitting. Tom's sitting on a cajon. Mike has an acoustic guitar, and they're like, "We got this. Check this out." And then Mike just starts playing some chords, and then Tom goes.
And that's his job in that song, man.
And they just kind of played the hook, and they played what Mike had, like in like fucking like what, like maybe like 2 hours of work, an hour of work.
Yeah.
And like that song just sprouted from
And
there.
I woke up, Mike was like, yo, check this out. I came back in an hour. I was like, okay, here's my verse. I was like, okay, we got a song.
Very nice. Next.
Next up, we have Where Did They Go?
So, I mean, realistically, the song's just about getting older, and as you get older, so it's not like the core of your friends change, and there's people that you thought would be around forever, and, they're not because you're growing up. But, it's not like you're alone or upset. Things are just really different, And, one of my close friends got married, and I was like, we had this group of friends, and I found out after he got married. And I was like, congrats. It's like, thanks. I was like, okay. So, I don't know.
Yeah, my part in that song is pretty similar. Like, I had a homie, Brian Thomas, who I hung out with like every single day since I met the kid. And I'm happy for him, and I hope that he's very happy. But out of nowhere, it felt like out of nowhere. Maybe he warned me and I wasn't paying attention. I was playing with my soft banana or something like that. But he was like, I'm getting married, he moved to Texas, got married. No, same kind of vibe where like I wasn't at the wedding. I'm pretty sure it was small. Not many of us were at the wedding. I haven't seen the kid since. But I have a lot of really good memories with him, especially like playing Call of Duty, staying up all night, drinking Monsters, and listening to like Blink-182 and like a bunch of stuff like that, and like. So
I'm talking about the Works bombs.
Yeah, literally. Oh yeah. We. All right, sidetrack here. You guys ever hear of Works? Works. You're too young. You're too young. His birthday was yesterday. Happy belated. But like so,
quarter of a century.
The Works was this like cleaning supply. It was like an all-purpose cleaner, right? And they don't have it on the market anymore, and probably because of me and Brian. But, so I don't know. My parents aren't watching this, but we would go out to like Walmart and we'd buy a bottle of Works, and then a literal like high C massive jug, right? And a little bit of you buy like aluminum foil. And what had happened was we would skip school, we'd go out in the woods, and you crumble up a little bit of this aluminum foil and you put it in the bottle, and you pour a little bit of the Works stuff in there. You close the cap and you shake it, and what happens is it like releases this gas. Like your burrito gas, and it expands the bottle and it just explodes.
Catching strays.
Always.
You like cats, you're fine. Yeah, it would expand, it would just explode. So we would just like skip school all the time and just blow stuff up all the time. So I kind of talk about that a little bit. Yeah. And like, I mean, we were pretty young too, so like we weren't doing anything crazy. We were just literally just blowing stuff up. And like cops would come sometimes, and we're just like running through the woods, like, you know. But they don't sell that anymore. Otherwise, I'd be like, yo, I brought some.
So the answer to where did they go is they blew up.
Yeah, there you go. Metaphorically
this man
speaking.
gets it.
Blew up.
Metaphorically speaking, yeah.
All right, so the sixth one. This is another. I guess the theme of this show is tongue twisters.
Scott Shasa.
Okay. Scott Shasa. Okay.
So there's an alcohol in Brazil called cachaça. It's like a rum made with sugarcane. And, you know, we play ska. And every single ska band in the history of ska puts ska in something.
Right.
So it's cachaça. And I'm Brazilian. Like, my mom's from São Paulo, my dad's from Minas Gerais. And I never really, like, utilized that in any of my music. And so, you know, I dropped a couple of things in there about, you know, like being Brazilian. I said some things in Portuguese.
Got us to do some shouting in Portuguese on the record.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Once a week, he tells us they're pronouncing it wrong.
It's
I'm like, I spelled Spanish. I can't do another language, bro. I spelled Spanish like 3 times. There's no T. I was like, but you said a T. He's like, because you don't actually say the T. And like, I hate silent letters. What is the point of a silent letter? English is dumb too. English is so dumb now. All right, sorry.
the gang vocalist canta and noise. And noise.
You got this. Come on.
A noise.
And noise is like it's like a slang that literally means like it's us, but it's like an endearing kind of like almost like a we got this, like, you know, like it's us, like canta means sing, so it's like sing that, you know, so it's just like a but yeah, there's a couple like so I said cachaça in my coconut, maconha in my lungs. Maconha is the Portuguese word for weed. Yeah, just a couple different references like that.
Scott Shasta also turned into my favorite sound check word. Whenever I'm sound check, I have a vocal mic and I mostly just like scream and just like say random.
You yell.
Doing more harmonies.
You yell.
I am doing more harmonies recently, but yeah. So my sound check, Scott Shasta. Is that good? Is that Scott Shasta? And then just on repeat.
That song is gonna be the only and first, maybe not only, but the first song where I actually like I have an inhale scream that I've been practicing. Shout out to Jay Preston that like kind of pushed me to do it on the actual thing, but
You got the double.
I get to scream. Yeah, you get the double today. I scream in that and like this little like breakdown. I'll do quotations, you know. But yeah, my verse in that is just literally just like shouting out my like, you know, tequila and nicotine and weed and calling us like telling you to open up your ear holes and listen to
you
your
got to do some good like mariachi harmony.
Yeah, I literally
It's
looked
amazing.
up how to specifically write mariachi harmony for this one little like 7 seconds of harmony. It's like happened so fast, but it's cool. It took a while to do, and
It's like, how can I take this song about being Brazilian and make it Hispanic?
I'm like, I can say banditos, right? Same thing. He's like, no. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna do it anyway. It's cool though. It's one of my favorites to play live. The bass line's like all over the place, and
That song is really fun.
it's a fun one to do. Yeah.
We've started to jam on it. So like at the end we play that like the beginning with the ba da 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 ba ba ba, and then we just keep going and just like me and Dan get to jam out on that. And it's a fun little chord set to jam out on. You know.
It's funny how that word jam is changed throughout my life. Like it's like a lot of bands are like, we're gonna jam this, and it's very like open. But for us, it's like super structured. Like a lot of our music is very like structured based. So it's you can call it a jam, but it's literally like you get 4 bars.
We're on a tight
We
schedule,
run
man.
like the you know we run the rip
We're on
and
a
it's
tight
tootie and then we're
gotta
done.
gotta get through the set.
Yeah.
Next up we have here's another good one. Sinsemilla eyes.
Sensimilia.
Sinsemilla. See, I'm aware of where the word comes from, but I don't think I've ever had to pronounce it before.
Chawana manga again. The one thing that I'll just before we even talk about the song itself, Dan, our trombone player, has a verse in that song, which is so cool
His first verse ever on that.
Oh, cool.
Stuff.
It's you're getting there.
He's
He's
I'll
over
get
5
there
years.
next
I think it's been stringing you 5 years. You lick the toe, and then he can do a verse.
Yeah.
That's kind of how it works.
He ripped that.
Yeah, it's very nice. It's very nice. But yeah, I mean you guys have longer verses in that.
So one of the things for that verse specifically, because I'm always trying to get better and find different ways to, I was talking about more lyrical content and stuff like that. I realized that I don't use I talk about things pretty literally a lot of times, and I don't use much imagery. So for that verse specifically, I tried to use a lot of just imagery, and yeah.
It worked out well because Dan kind of picked up on that, I think, and did a very similar thing.
Dude, it's cool because me and Dan wrote those completely independently.
Yeah.
And then we just sat down and we were like, here. And they fit together really well. It was cool.
I have a little rappy poo at the end there, and it's cool. It's fun. It's a good time. I say like amber glow in the smoke.
Amber Heard and the Turd.
Yeah, I was gonna say, and I have a hard time not saying Amber Heard and the Turd every once in a while, but maybe one day you guys will see it one day on Amber Heard and the Turd.
That's one of the Dub Your Low and Slow songs. I just tuned it out.
I said shout out Jack Sparrow.
So,
The homie. I like rum too. So.
All right, next up we got Dead Plants.
Don't water those guys. They ain't your friends. That's kind of honestly like it,
don't feed dead relationships.
Yeah, like
Dying relationships. Relationships that aren't worthy of giving your energy.
Okay, yeah, I like that metaphor.
For sure.
We got two fantastic features on that from Ashley Ruban, who's out of Baltimore, and Toby Raps, who's out of Ohio.
Yeah.
Do you know where in Ohio?
I want to say Cleveland.
We'll say Cleveland.
Okay.
I believe. Sorry, Toby.
Is our Toby.
I think he's from Cleveland.
But two fantastic features on top of. Dan, do you have a verse in that?
No.
Great. I know, but his two verses.
Dude, Toby killed that verse. And then when Ashley dropped hers in, she did some really cool, she threw this little metaphor in that was really cool.
Don't waste your spring rain on the autumn decay or something like that. It's really solid.
On some autumn decay.
Yeah. I had to ask her what it was because like sometimes like the best lyrics are the ones that it's hard to understand because it's like rhythmically placed really nicely and like the syllables kind of stick out in this like almost like staccato kind of way, But once you know what it is, like if you were to read it on Spotify or something like that, you hear it every time. It's just when I first heard it, I was like, wow, I need to know what that is. When I heard it, I was like, whoa, that's sick. It's like perfect in terms of what we were trying to say, about. But it's a very good metaphor way of saying it,
Ashley is another one that we have coming to Camp Kevin.
Oh, cool.
We've been playing with her very frequently, and we've gotten really, really close over the last 6 or so months.
I am basically in her band now.
when she plays bigger shows and she tries to put together a deeper lineup, Adam and Dan will play with her.
We hop in. It's great.
Nice.
It's great. She has fantastic music as well.
We did a feature with her too.
Yeah, she has a song coming out soon called "Pass Me the Lighter" that me and Mike sang on to. We've just been working together a lot and pushing each other forward, and giving each other opportunities. We booked a run, brought her out. She just played this massive festival, Point Break, down in Virginia Beach. Put our horn players on, and then let me and Mike sing our feature with her. So we work well together, and we do things to push each other forward.
And the Thursday or Friday before that, we all drank this bottle of Lamborghini tequila, which is really expensive out of nowhere. He bought it while the lady was just to me, hey, we have a $6 minimum. And I was just like, ah. This is good stuff, though.
Yeah, Ashley's awesome.
And it rained like crazy that day. I had a little reel or a story that I posted. I was like, it's gonna rain! And it actually did really well. A 2-second thing. Anyway.
Let's go to Sardines.
Actually, so the very beginning of this song, we had Dan and Sarita, which is another one of our brass players that just kind of started doing other stuff and doesn't play with us anymore. But we were in Laughlin, where I'm from.
Yep.
Not as fancy as other thing. I'm just like a little humble town called Laughlin, and there's this little creek, whatever neck of the woods you're from, whatever you want to call it. And we were just sitting there chilling by the water, and I started playing this thing, and me and Dan were like, yeah, like let's make this a song eventually. And it kind of was just like on the back burner for a while, and then eventually he was just like, what about that Sardine song? And we kind of wrote to it, and it's probably one of the fastest, just like ska punk things we've ever written. Like literally the drums like gotta get like just like the whole time, and it's cool. It's talking about how like when you're on your way to a show and you're just like literally hoping that the place gets packed like sardines.
Mm-hmm.
Shout out SpongeBob.
Shout out Keep Flying.
Shout out Keep Flying. Yeah, for sure.
Henry
You nailed that
from
stuff
Keep
too.
Flying dropped a verse in that song.
Who played that? They played at the Vans Warped Tour.
Yes,
thing
just recently.
at the Ritz.
Yeah.
Justin Scranton.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I had them on the podcast a few years ago, actually.
Oh, really?
Wow,
Yeah.
really?
Yeah, I
That's
love
sick.
those guys. I love those guys, and
Yeah.
they were playing there's a billiards near the V spot,
Yeah, yeah.
and they were playing a show there, and I was like,
Clarky's?
"Hey guys, yeah, Clarky's." So I
Nice.
said, while you guys
Nice.
are in town, do you want to come like literally right down the street
Yeah.
here and do an interview? And they're like, "Yeah, absolutely."
That's cool.
So they
Yeah,
came,
that's
came down,
awesome.
hung out. They were super cool guys.
Dude, they seem
really cool.
so cool, but we've never actually gotten a chance to link up with them.
Oh wow,
Um,
you guys I think would work so well together.
I was actually trying to
You
get
think
them
so?
on to Camp Kevin, but their routing has them out in California right now.
Okay.
So they weren't
Little
able to
far.
make Camp Kevin.
A little bit. I don't know if Kevin will make that trip.
Kevin, come on, Kevin. Kevin needs some love.
And next up, we've got Hourglass.
That's one of those ones where it's just like the metaphor we talk about. We kind of both use it in the very beginning of our verses, where it's just like you literally feel like you're sipping from an hourglass. Like every day, you're just like sipping from an hourglass. Like time just keeps going, no matter what is going on. Like it just keeps going, and it's one of those things where like I feel like everybody has experienced it before, where you're like, man, I feel like I'm getting old, and somebody who's like a year or maybe 20 years older than you, like, you're too young to feel that way, and you're just like, yeah, but like. This is wild, man. Like everything is so different now,
So another artist that we have coming to Camp Kevin,
Shout out Tony.
Cultivated Mind. Tony is
The one man extravaganza.
dude, that man's incredible. It was actually that same show that I was talking about at Chicho's in Norfolk. When he started playing, it was the first time we ever linked up with him. I swear to God, my jaw was on the ground. I sat like this.
I saw it. We had to wash it off. It was like floor was dirty that day.
For like 5 minutes. I haven't had my jaw on the ground for that long in quite some time. I was deeply impressed. That man is incredible.
He loops like everything. He'll do his own kit, via MIDI sounds, and he'll play trumpet. He'll loop guitar. He'll loop like a bass line via like MIDI again, and he's incredible.
But
His effects work.
efficiently.
Yeah, it's fast. It's like there's no mistakes. It feels, and it's
Dude, and that man is ridiculous at guitar. His vocals are absurd.
he has like that
He
street
rips
roots,
trumpet like it's
he has like a street roots. Like it's like a.
yeah.
It's not like that your typical roots when you think roots. Like it's not like New York roots or like that, the city
Yeah.
roots. Like it's a little different.
That Hampton roots.
Yeah, like he has that. It's really powerful. Like the way anything he does is really powerful. And I remember Joe was just like, "Y'all got to step up your game" when he heard the feature. 'Cause we were like, "Whoa, this is crazy!" It's really cool though. His
that's one of
lyric
the-
works really well too.
That's one of the cool things about Camp Kevin too, is we get to bring together all these artists that we've worked with, that we've connected with, that we become really close with, and introduce them to our family here, and build that community through them interacting and doing the whole thing. So there's a lot of artists that we work with closely that are involved in Camp Kevin.
Well, we're going to get to that right after we finish up here. We got two more. We have Arcane, like that one anime.
Dude, so I watch a lot of anime. I'm usually really picky on animation styles, and my buddy told me to watch Arcane. And I was like, I don't know. It was the animation style. I was like, yeah. And then I started watching it, and it is one of the best shows I've ever seen in my life. It
has nothing to do with the song, but
it inspired me to put a different feel on some stuff, and it's about overcoming adversity. I mean, it did inspire the song to that capacity, but we just molded it to fit our adversities. So
challenges, yeah, for sure. At least for my verses, it's like I have like 2 verses where I'm singing about like you ever play that Oregon Trail game? Right?
Yeah.
So that's like, Oregon Trail mindset, no we ain't there yet kind of thing. It's about like Warren Kevin. It's just like the road's tough sometimes, And literally like the road, literally speaking and metaphorically, like we're doing all these things on the road to try to make this our life, and it's tough, and like you get down on yourself about the things that you're thinking about. And one of my favorite lyrics in the entire album is talking about like a hardship sinking inside of our mind, like that little aspect of like it's hardship, but like a ship, and like a surface break, and you're trying to be like, I'm drowning, kind of thing, But it's cool. But then the ending is wild, and you.
Thank you.
Yes. The shot banana goes to you. No,
so two things that are unique about that song. Dan Rosler, did a quote for us in the beginning of that song. That's Dan talking.
Okay.
He's so smart, dude. So I go message real quick. So I messaged Dan. He's all about it right away. Like he, said some super nice words about it. And his first go at it was like way beyond our level of comprehension. We were just like, bro, that was way like it was just PhD level, which I'm pretty sure he just got his PhD.
Philosophy PhD.
And it was like on that level where I was just like, woo, wild, yes, but like pretend you're like a little drunk, a little high, and we're in the car on the way back from something. And I'm like, yo, what do you love about music? And then he just sent this voicemail like right away, and it was what's on that now, and it's perfect.
Nice.
It's perfect.
So the ending section has this bridge that is a combination of him destroying a saxophone, Dan absolutely destroying a trombone, and Mike putting together a 120-piece orchestral arrangement underneath it.
In the van.
In the van on the way to Cleveland. We were on the way to Cleveland. Mike pulled out his MIDI keyboard, put his leg up. He was like, okay, Danny, what am I doing?
Which is wild. I'm just like, just like ripping on a harp. It's cool though. It's really cool.
That is probably one of the coolest musical moments we've put together so far.
Yeah.
It was cool to hear it, even for us, develop, as individuals. Relax.
Yeah, playing on that with me and Dan, it was special because like me and Dan were like, okay, who wants to go in first? Because they set out like the leg of it, and then Dan was like, I'll do it first. So then Dan goes in, he does his thing. I'm like, okay. And so then I'm like, all right. So then I go in, and I just am like, all right, I just gotta be 10 times better than whatever he just did. And so I just try and compliment it, like following his steps, and then just fucking like take off from it. And then I remember after my first take of it, I walk back into the studio room, and I just see Danny and Dan on the ground, just like. And I was like, was that good?
They were like, we didn't hear it. They were like, we didn't hear it.
Lower.
Oh, don't get me started. Don't get me started.
But it gives me and Dan our moment as horn players, so it's nice. It's good.
I gotta give Tom's our drummer. He's not here right now, but Tom, I don't know how accurate this is or how much I agree with it, but I loved it regardless, right? He's like, that reminds me of like a couple standing in the rain. He's like, Adam's the girl and Tom's the guy, and it's pouring and they're fighting, and like, remember that? I don't remember exactly the words. You don't remember that?
I had no part in this.
I'm gonna call him right now. I'm not crazy. Well, I'm crazy, but that's truth though. It happened. I swear it happened.
I believe.
Imagery.
I'm just trying to fluff my banana over here.
Personifying Adam's saxophone as an arguing female.
Nuh-uh. You little scream that it is. Like, we're just like,
No, it's cool though. I feel like that's something that doesn't click for me. Like,
yeah, no, me either. I just wanted to give him shove some light, you know.
No, I just mean like putting together like imagery like that, like
of a saxophone being a female.
No,
Lisa's like general. Lisa Simpson's like the most famous saxophone player ever. This girl.
Where's the mute button?
Right here.
All right, we got one more. Dylan's song.
Yeah, Dylan's song is for my buddy Dylan Estico. He passed away a couple years ago. And, it took me a couple years to decide how I wanted to do it. But I wrote a song for him. So, it's one of those things where, like, I don't know. He was the kind of friend that, like, he was the one who was bringing everyone together to come to our shows and doing all that stuff. And, like, dude, I cried on the way home. We played a really cool show last weekend, down in Lehigh Valley. And on the way home, I was like, man, Dylan would have really enjoyed that. He would have been there. And, but yeah, I started writing the song, and I was like, I don't want this to be weird, so I sent it to his mom first to make sure it was, she was cool with it. And she's like, yeah, do it. So, yeah, we finished writing it, and then, just a bunch of crying and stuff. We played it for the first time down in Ocean City, and I was like, yeah, all right, we got this. And I started playing it, and I was like, halfway during the song, I was like, oh my God. No, but for real, like,
it's gorgeous, honestly.
Mike went into the studio, and his keys parts that he added in, and he did these oohs that were just beautiful, and it came out perfect. And I don't really know what to say.
It's a great tribute.
I'll give you some love on this one. Through that song, he taught me, which at first, the first time he said it, it made me giggle, right? Where he's just like, that bass line's too playful, like, play something more meaningful, and I'm like, when you first hear it, like, surface level, you're like, what? Like, a meaningful, but it makes sense to me now. And it made all of the other, like, when I had to write horns, I'd do, like, the oohs and the ahs, like, what keys am I going to do? It's very, like, I can do this, but, like, should I? Is this the moment to do this right now? Like, do I want to do an inversion here? Like, what kind of value is that going to have to what he is saying? And it made me pay more attention to those, like, finer details, more of, like, instead of being like this, where I usually am with form and, like, doing this a lot, it made me be like, okay, take this word, what does this mean? And then, like, look at his thing like this, like, okay, he's saying this, like, it did change the game for me a bit, and it was one of those wild experiences where it just kind of clicked. At first, I was laughing, I was like, bro, what do you mean? I think I tracked the drums, like, 4 times. And it finally was like, it started to make sense, It was like, you could do all these things, but, like, why? Musical intention is huge, and it was huge for me in the classical world, but, like, I don't think about it that much when I'm doing our stuff. I'm just having a good time and making music, and we make so much music that it's, like, hard to take that into perspective, but when we're doing something like that, like, it's a very sensitive subject, and it's, I can't imagine that experience, so I wanted to make sure that I learned as much as I could through that, and I think as a band we did, and it's gorgeous.
I'm excited for that song to be out, and I know a decent amount of us and Dylan's friends that are going to be there on Saturday to hear that song, and I'm just excited for that to.
It's a great way to close the record.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we were gonna have Arcane close the album, and then we moved Dylan's song to the end, and we're like, this fits here.
Jokes aside, though, we do like the idea of, like, emotional roller coasters too, because it's like if you were to listen on repeat, which is like, and he ran over my bass again.
It was really cool. We were we didn't really have much back and forth on the album order. Me and Mike talked about it for like 20 minutes. We're like, we wrote it down one way. We're like, yeah, that's it. And we tried it another way. We're like, nope.
It was like a solid mix of, like, we had like three or four-ish, like, concepts in mind where it's like we wanted to make sure that there was a solid amount of variety if you were to listen to it straight through between, like, our different styles that we do, and also, like, what we were talking about, we wanted to make sure that there was a good mix. But then, like, the other hand was, like, the keys type of thing, like the flow. Like, if we were played as a set, the first, like, 5 songs, literally, like, we end on, like, the dominant of the next song's tonic or something like that, where it just, tonality wise, it literally flows straight through. Like, you could play it as a whole song, like, if you really wanted to, which is cool. It's something a little bit different for us, which we try to do in our set sometimes. So if we know, like, we've been working on it for the past year, just being like, bam song, bam song, bam song, bam song. We're like, what the fuck is up, Ohio? And then we play the next 4 songs in a row again, like that. And that's kind of how we wrote it out.
Trying to build our shows instead of just playing songs. Trying to build our shows and our transitions a little bit better and get better in that respect. But yeah, I think I just listened to it this week, all the way through when I was driving, and I think it's pretty complete. There's a lot of people when we play with reggae bands, they think we're a ska band. When we play with ska bands, they think we're a reggae band. And you know, we're us. And this album is elephants as fuck. Yeah. There's pop punk, there's low and slow, there's meaningful stuff, there's playful stuff. There's just varieties. There's songs about loss and anxiety. There's songs about partying and having fun. There's dancey. There's like, it's just everything that encompasses what we do. And I think it came out really cool. Some of our best music yet.
Yeah, it sounds great, guys. And that cover art, which I'm going to put up on the screen, I think pulls it all together.
Yeah. Scale 1 to 10, how Asian do I look?
Dude,
that is pretty good though.
our homie Nahuel, he's an artist based out of Argentina. And we actually found him through one of our other homies, Fubar, who's actually also going to be at Camp Kevin.
He's like, I'm going to be a good boy at Camp Kevin. I'm like, dude, every homie you have is going to be at Camp Kevin. Ain't no way we're getting to, what is it, Long Island that we're going to? Like the next day?
No, Rhode Island.
One of the islands. We're going to be there. I heard there's good pizza there.
Hey, loading's at 8:30. We got a chance.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, right? But yeah, Nahuel has done all of our art. He goes under like Amaya Comics. He does a lot of comic art, and he's really good at it. And he's done all of our custom stuff. He did Chill Like Penguins. He did you know, our single art and stuff like that. He did the Camp Kevin art. So like one of the things that we've been doing between me and him is I've been having him do the art, and like I've been trying to handle the text work because I've been doing more graphic design recently. And for example, for Camp Kevin, it worked out really well because I have 12 different variations of it, but it's all based off of his art. So it's cool. We've been working together really well, and I really like the way he puts things together for us, and he brings our visions to life, and me and him work really well together, and it's really cool. He does a lot of good things for us.
I think like the cartoon comic vibe fits us really well.
He gives us,
you know,
no other bands in our scene really have like that style, and that style of comic art has been like, it's cool. It's cool posters, cool vibes, and
one day we're gonna make a card game.
There you go.
Yeah. You'll see.
So let's get into Camp Kevin Fest. You hosted the first one last year. How did this idea to create your own independent music festival come about?
Honestly, I've been doing a lot of the legwork, but the idea was Mike's. Mike was always like, I want a festival. I want a festival. Mike's like, I want a camping festival. I'm like, okay, well, you can't have that. I'll give you a one-day festival.
Yeah, it's always like, I want ice cream. You get a cone. All right, you got a lighter?
Nice.
I hope this gets packed like sardines.
Yeah, I mean, so our goal, so for Camp Kevin, one of the things that we're trying to do right now around here is bring more reggae rock into this area. Bumpin' Uglies used to come through and sell out the jazz and sell out clubs around here, and we linked up with them around here, and then after that, nobody really came here. They stopped coming here a couple years ago because they outgrew some of the spots. You know, they're playing more of the A and the B markets, and nobody else really comes here in our scene, and so we're trying to fix that. So there's one booking agent, Tim Massey. We linked up one or two of his bands in this area, and now he's been frequently putting bands at the Jazz Cafe. So
it's been at least like what, 6, 7 bands, 8 maybe.
Yeah, I mean,
always put my joy out of reach.
Put Crooked Coast there.
Coast, Joey,
Mike,
Mike.
Kyle.
Yeah.
We had Drifting Roots.
Yeah.
Pisano's. So he's one booking agent that is now tapped in here, and we're trying to do more of that. And so our goal with Camp Kevin is both to grow the market for bands that want to come in this area, because we want to grow our own market, and B, to show bands that it is a viable market for them to come into.
One of the things that you do really well, honestly, from seeing a lot of, like, there's different kind of festivals and longer, big, more band shows that, you know, sometimes get called festivals, whatever. But the bands that we choose to work with as a band, he contacts and makes it happen, they're not from here. You know what I mean? Some of them are far away, some of them are even further away, and they don't really come into our area very often. And every single band besides us is not local, which is one of the special things about Kevin and as a consumer opinion. You know what I'm saying? Like, because I did go to a lot of shows in the area when I was growing up, and still kind of did until I can't anymore. I'm just like stuck in Kevin every day, but which is fine. I'm happy being there. It's cool, but yeah, he did it really well. Like, that's one of the things that Kevin, and I think will always be that way, where it's different bands that are not from here that are literally on tour, and they literally change their route, like make it so they can come here, which is sick. Like, Millington, I don't think has ever been in our area before. I don't think Ashley's ever been in our area before. Samba. I don't think Samba's ever been in our area before. Like, so it's cool to make. And
it's not that I don't want local bands. It's not anything like that. It's just I'm trying to build a market for a certain genre.
Yeah, I'd say definitely genre specific. And
I think that's the biggest thing, because we love playing on local bills. We've played cross genre shows with homies of ours, like So Much Hope Buried, and like we love playing on stuff like that, and we love bringing other local bands into the jazz with us and doing things of that nature. But for Camp Kevin specifically, we're just trying to grow the market for reggae rock in this area. So in my eyes, when you're running an event like that, there's two ways to do it. You either book a bunch of bands that are going to pull, whether they have a national pull or a local pull, or they're nationally touring and they have a pull, or they have a local pull, right? You either book bands that are going to pull, or you put together an event and sell the event. And so that was my challenge for Camp Kevin, is I know none of these bands have well-established pulls in this area. So that kind of falls onto us. But the goal was to build an event and sell the event,
which feeds the scene that we want to live in forever. So it's like the more we do that, the more just that scene itself grows. And it's wild, because like I knew that reggae ska was a thing, and the more we play shows, the more people we meet, we're realizing like it's a scene. Like, the bands all know each other, and all the people who listen to one band,
and it's growing fast.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's unlike a lot of the scenes that I've witnessed before. It reminds me a little bit of like the early 2000s like metal scene.
Okay.
When Screamo was really starting to like, be like a scene where everybody kind of knew each other, which is cool, because it was kind of big in this area.
Yeah.
It still is big in this area. Like, metal is definitely like a popular genre for our area, but the scene aspect of it, like, there's not a lot of these like bands. I don't know. It doesn't seem the same. There's something different about it. And maybe in a couple of years I'll be able to point it and define it, but I ain't there yet. But I'm enjoying the process.
It's really interesting, because like when it comes to the reggae rock scene, like, what do you say? Everybody knows everybody down the coast, down the entire coast. Like, so Joe Samba's headlining Camp Kevin. He's from New Hampshire. Joey Harcum is from Baltimore, Pasadena. And yesterday we were playing at Secrets with Joe Samba, and Joey was on the way home from a show and just rerouted his way home to come hang out. Yeah. And that's like the kind of stuff that like everybody really knows everybody in our scene, and it's really tight knit, which is really cool, and it's selling right now. It's starting to grow really fast, and some of the bands that are like paving the way for our scene are really starting to take off. Yeah. For example, Bumpin' Uglies used to be around here selling out the Jazz Cafe. Yeah. Now they're putting 2,000 people in venues in Florida and 500 people over here, and they're selling 500 tickets a night minimum. It's like,
you're drinking like 500 orange crushes. Yeah, that
but yeah, man, a lot of the bands are starting to do that. Like, the Elevators just popped off, and
Little Stranger.
Yeah, dude. Everybody's just kind of taking, and that's my goal right now. Everybody's kind of taking that step up, where they're moving this way. We're trying to fill this gap. So who's the next person to fill that gap? And you know, we're trying to find the right people to work with and the right way to target people, and it's all about networking, especially because of how tight knit it is.
Yeah.
And it's another goal of Camp Kevin. It's how we get to network, put everybody together in the same place. Everybody that likes to work, that has a great attitude, that works with us, put them all in the same place.
Now, how did that first year go, and how did you build on that for going into this year?
So the first year was really solid, but we kind of changed the setup where the first year was kind of run like a show with like 5 bands. This year's run a little bit more like a festival where it's 2 stages, it's ticketed. There's like different aspects of it.
2 stages is a big difference. The level of the band, and nothing, I mean, the bands that we had on the first one were absolutely amazing, but just because of the fact that we have more.
Grabbing a nationally touring headliner, it's like
like having Joe on there is like very easy.
That was a big step for us. Like,
you know, there's like guys on
investing
Facebook.
in a nationally touring headliner to do that. You know,
There's one of those things where like I get a kick out of, like there's always like people on Facebook, right? And they have, I love Facebook, back to the cheer the fuck up kind of thing. But like there's always like a certain person on Facebook, right? Everybody knows who I'm talking about. Like there's a lot of different people who do this, but like they don't have a Facebook picture.
what the fuck are you talking about?
They're like, wow, who hosts a festival but doesn't headline? And we're like, that's the whole point, bro. It's like we have like they're way bigger than us, and we want to make this a thing, and then you know, but it's that kind of concept where like that what I would say would be that little.
The point is building
now
the
we're
market,
on the
not
next
highlighting
part of
ourselves.
the ladder where it's just like this. We're trying to make Camp Kevin is part of us, but it is not just us.
Yeah, it's not about
And
us.
we're trying to build that to be a thing that is other bands' things too, where I'm headlining Camp Kevin now rather than just like, oh, we have this guy and we have this guy and this guy and then we get to headline. Like, nah, it's not like that anymore. But like those guys, like they have like dogs and images and AI and what do you look like, bro? We find you. Sorry. We jump people with soft bananas often, and I'm excited for the next event.
So let's talk about the whole lineup that you guys got for this one. You got Joe Samba on top, and you know, who else is playing?
So I'm a fangirl. Nillington is literally like one of my favorite bands because I grew up in pop punk. They call themselves brass emo, and it's just it's badass. And they featured on our song "My Girlfriend Hates When I'm on Tour" on the last album.
She does.
And
They all do.
Yes, they do. And then who else we got? Ashley LaRue.
Over the Bridge.
Yeah, Over the Bridge.
Yo,
Over the
that
Bridge
show was crazy. That was Massachusetts, wasn't it?
They were not with us. We were by ourselves.
No. Yeah, but they hooked it up, didn't it?
They hooked
That-
it up.
They hooked it up.
Yeah.
That show was crazy, like I was saying.
Over the Bridge.
Shout out Zach Farmer.
Over the Bridge is also from New England. They're super cool. They're close with Joe. You know, just more bands that work with each other. That whole tight knit thing.
Big Happy.
Yeah, the Big Happy. They're our homies from Long Island.
They've been here a couple times now.
Yeah, they have. I don't even remember how we linked up in the first place.
I do not either. They're great people though.
Yeah, we became really close, and I do some graphic design for them and stuff. So we talk like almost every day, and
Cute.
yeah, we got LNJ Sessions opening it up. They're our homies. We've been playing with them since quite a while ago. They were definitely day ones. They gave us a lot of opportunities and hooked us up with some different people that led to different things. So
Kevin himself is DJing. The whole Kevin thing is a legacy. You gotta understand that is crazy. Back in the day, like our first 2-3 years, we had sponsored by Kevin on everything. But it's not the van Kevin, not always, which makes me upset. Danny.
So Kevin is
Tony.
just this ongoing.
wait, yeah, we got
almost a running gag of some
Yeah.
sort.
Kind of. So like, okay, it means a lot of different things to different people in the band, you know. So like, visually speaking, like graphic wise, we did have sponsored. Oh, you like that? Mortal Kombat vibes. we had sponsored by Kevin on everything, right? So back in the day, me and Danny, like I'm talking literally like 7 years ago, the word for us when we were at like houses that were like, weed is bad, it's gonna make your brain like eggs. We called Kevin. Like, yo, Kevin is calling. You want to go talk to Kevin? Which is just hilarious when you think about it in retrospect. It's like, who the fuck is Kevin? And the one day, probably like 8 years ago, I met Kevin. And he's an actual human. He's Mike. Because his story, I know now, obviously. But like, I didn't know that at the time. Like, I knew his story. And he's like, I'm Kevin. And I'm like, no, you're Mike. He's like, no, but I'm Kevin. I'm like, oh. And it just, it was absolutely insane. And then now we have a van that we're like, this is Kevin. And now we have a festival where it's like, this is Camp Kevin. And Ringo's like, whatever, guys. I'm just drag me around. It's cool. I'll just be here. Get about Ringo. Yeah,
We got
crazy though.
We got Coastal High. Motherfucker.
Sorry.
We got Coastal High. They're a fresh band out of New Jersey. They're super cool. We got Cultivated Mind, Tony.
If you leave one out, you're gonna feel terrible about it. So
Where's the poster? Where's the poster?
I think that's it.
Do you think?
No, it's not.
Did you bring a poster?
That was Jay.
Hold on.
Us, Joe, Ashley. Food Bar, you didn't say Food Bar yet.
Yes, you
You
did.
said it earlier. Food Bar.
Counts.
Coastal High. Millington.
It's a lot of names to remember.
There's a lot of names. Yeah.
Try teaching kids.
Oh, Big Happy.
Little bitch, motherfucker. It's alright. I love kids, dude. Fine, it's fine. It's cool. That's the. He's loading.
Rockstead.
Ah,
I
knew it.
Speaking of free,
They featured on Free on our last album. We haven't. This is like I think
Dude,
this is our first time looking up at them.
Yes, this is another band, dude. I've been talking to Jake for
Yeah,
a couple
good luck.
years now, and I've been talking to him for a couple years now, and we always talk about linking up, and you know it just never worked out. And he featured on a song on
Killed
Chill
it.
Like Penguins,
Absolutely killed it.
free.
and then yeah, now's the first time we get to link up, and I'm super stoked.
That's awesome.
They tour heavy.
Yeah.
They're hard workers. They're grind down the coast, back and forth frequently. And honestly, what I was talking about, you know, taking venues from other bands that do that kind of thing. Rockstead is a big one where I'm like, okay, Rockstead played here. Let's check this place out.
Yeah.
And that got us into a couple places. And it's cool because we do that back and forth. They needed a show on the way to Camp Kevin. I just linked them up with our homie from Altoona. But yeah. It's going to be really cool playing at Camp Kevin because 75% of the features we have are going to come sing with us.
That's great.
If we practice.
Do you now the venue is an interesting place to do something like this. Let's talk a little bit about that.
Nah.
So they have a lot of space. They're really kind people, and they allowed us to pursue this vision that we have and do this thing. And
They got a massive pavilion now, which is really cool.
yeah, it's really cool. And
Last year it rained and we were like holding tarps, like, no,
like
don't ruin our system.
they're just super kind people. You know, so we're ticketing it. So I'm handling the financials for this one, and so he's handling all of the artist catering for me. He has someone working the door for us. He's like, you know, whatever you guys need to do. They're very supportive. They're super family friendly. I go there with my family all the time.
The family friendly aspect is really good too.
Yeah,
Something
they're
that, like,
pet
is
friendly.
a
They
big
have
thing for-
a really beautiful property. It was just one of those things where we had our album released there. And then after having our album released there, we kind of did the same thing but turned it into the first Camp Kevin.
Oh, okay.
And then we just grew it into this year where it's like, okay, now we're running it like a festival, you know? But yeah, honestly, like it kind of just grew off of the album release and yeah, those things.
We're thankful that they're allowing us to build our own, Camp Kevin vibes there. It's really cool.
Yeah,
it's a nice setup too. Honestly, like it is set up in a really like pretty way, but it's also like
their property,
practical as well.
Their property is just fantastic. They have like 4 bars. Their entire staff is super nice. Like a bunch
food
of parking.
is really good too.
Like, there's just a lot of really cool things about being at Pisano's that like make you feel like you're at home, which is why me and my family go there so frequently. And it's cool. So.
Well, should we see if there's any comments or questions?
Unless you have any like would you rather questions. I love those.
Let's see. Oh, well, if you want to add any of those would you rather type questions, you can put them down.
Do it.
So if you're tuned in now is your time. Let's see. Robin S. is.
I forgot this was live streaming.
I can attest that it is a hilariously good vibe at their show.
Nice.
Let's see.
Told you what I'm gonna do.
Post your bananas. Summer, you can actually talk and people will know who you are now because they can see you on camera. So Summer has been our producer for the last several months, hanging out in the back and changing the cameras and making sure it all sounds good and everything like that. So we've reset up since we took the time to reset everything up. I was like, all right, we should bring Summer in on this so everybody knows who she is now. So.
Dude, it was pretty cool from my perspective.
Yeah.
When I saw Summer start doing sound, because like we graduated together.
Oh, that's awesome.
I hadn't seen her in years, and then we go to play the one day, and Summer's doing sound. It's like, yo, what's up, dude?
Yeah, remember
it was cool.
The Theory Club days, like Coughlin.
I think you also forget we went to Mansfield together. Too.
We didn't know. I remember we went to Mansfield together. The Theory Club is just hilarious.
We tried.
Yeah, we tried. We were like in the library, like, yeah, music theory. And then it was me and Summer next. We're like, hi.
I'm in the corner playing chess.
I can know you do tell my theory.
Yeah, I love theory.
So I wanted the feed to fill up with people posting bananas, but it didn't happen that much.
Rip.
So
They all busted.
Get to posting. Squid says the studio's looking slick, my guy. Thank you. I think it came out really nice. Added some little touches here and there. If you've been watching the show, then you might pick up on that. The main thing are these amazing couches. Though.
Yeah, after these cameras shut off, me and Adam are gonna break this couch in.
Yeah, those cameras. I could take one of those off, right? And
I was saying I wish I could zoom in.
Same.
I mean, if you physically go to the camcorders, I guess you could zoom in if you really want to. But
That's true. I could do mobile.
yeah.
She's gone rogue.
Get that Wayne's World sort of thing.
Yeah.
Whoa!
We all stand in a circle. We do the 70s show vibe too. Yes.
Mr. Moda just did that music video in that
Yeah,
style.
tell me about that, yeah.
Hot box.
We should do that, and then we'll make a music video after.
Let's see. Juan asks, "Do you guys play?" No, they're not playing on the show. But I would love if you guys would come back when we're doing our acoustic sessions.
Totally.
I don't know if you guys do something like that.
Yes.
But we would love to.
I still got the boom whackers.
All
I
right.
still got them boom whackers.
So actually, Mike Pinto is an artist in our scene. Sometimes he tours with the full band. A lot of times he tours solo. We're playing with him on a show at the Jazz Cafe in September.
Okay.
And he's touring solo. So we were asked to open it acoustic, and so what we're gonna do for one of the first times, we're gonna do like a full band acoustic.
Oh, nice.
So
Okay.
it's gonna be a really unique set.
He's one of the best like storytellers in the scene.
Insane.
He is really, really good at telling stories.
And for a long time.
I got to see
Insane.
him at. We just played One Earth recently, but I think the first time we played One Earth, that was that third time, right? The first time I played One Earth, Mike Pinto was there, and I saw him, and I ran up to him, and I was like, I was probably silly, but he did deal with me, let me buy him a drink, and I was like, can you tell me about? He's a song called Tricky Nicky, and I was like, is this? If you listen to the song, you're like, that's crazy. So I was like, is this a true story? And he's like, it is, but it's about two different people, and I'm like, whoa. So like, yeah, but no, but yeah, but no, but yeah, kind of thing. No, it was cool.
All right.
Yeah,
He's incredible.
good stuff. Cool voice.
Let's see, Rebecca says Camp Kevin 2025.
That's right.
Myers?
Thank you, Rebecca. Yeah, Rebecca Myers.
Myers?
Rebecca Saunders.
My bad.
Justin Fay. Only a few more hours till the album drop. Let's
Hey!
go.
We're gonna stay alive till it drops, right?
Yeah, we'll be here. I'm just gonna keep going. Let's see. Nancy Morris says, "Hey boys."
Hi, Nancy.
Let's see.
Hello.
I miss you.
So excited for Saturday. She
You
says.
don't talk to me like that. You know, you never once said you missed me.
The legacy of Kevin. Robin is stoked for this weekend.
Robin is patiently awaiting some help from me about what her job is this weekend. She's doing lights. It's
Okay.
actually really cool. She's I'm not quite sure who she's working with. I don't remember their name, but they're
Foggy Days, right? Is the
no, it's a light company.
okay. Nice.
But they're letting her, use their rig and run lights, basically like to get her feet wet. And so they're hooking us up. She's hooking us up, and yeah, it's gonna be really cool. But I need to help her get some details. Yeah, it's been hard, man. Trying to balance like playing shows. Like we were just at Secrets yesterday. We drove back all morning, got home, saw my daughter and my girlfriend for 2 hours.
Yeah.
They had to leave. I had to come here, and it's like.
I ate a couple pumpkin seeds, put my head down on a pillow, and I woke up. He's like, "Get the fuck out." Okay.
I'm putting those your tour poster up on the screen there so people can see. Well, you guys have been busy.
Sweet.
And
Sweet.
there's a lot of stuff coming up too.
China want a banganonga.
Are you going back?
I would love to. Do you want to go on a
Next
fishing
year?
trip? I'll go on one side, you go on the other
Yes.
side. We can't go in the middle.
Right? No middle.
No, no in
Yeah.
the middle. Eagles backside.
Yeah, and I'll get my fishing pole out.
I don't have one. My dad never took me fishing, but like I would love to go fishing.
Now you can finally make it happen.
Yeah, we just get those sardines. Just give them a little stick them, throw them in there.
Perfect.
Fish like sardines, right? Sardines,
Cannibalism?
kind. But isn't fishing cannibalism anyway? Aren't fish cannibals? Kind of, sort of. Pescatarians. Danny used to eat. We used to tour in Danny's Cobalt, and this is a joke that I like. I'm pretty sure I like dreamed of this joke, which is why. Did you ever dream of a joke? No, you guys aren't funny. You don't get it. Anyway, kidding. Danny used to eat an egg like from a gas station, and like tuna, in the van.
He read this on Instagram. He didn't dream it. God.
I didn't read this on Instagram. There's nothing to read on Instagram. It's memes, bro. They're like videos and reels and stuff. I don't even know. But anyway, it smelled terrible. It was rough, right? Because it's Cobalt's small. Like now we have Kevin. It would still be terrible, but it was bad. And my little joke that was in my mind, I was like, man, he'll eat like tuna salad and tuna fish, but he won't tuna guitar. And I was like, got him. Got her. Yes. See?
Yeah, you only have to entertain us too.
That's all I care about. That's all I care about.
For your audience.
That's all I care about. I met this homie at whatever show we were at, and he's like, "You want to be a comedian?" And I'm like, "Yeah." He's like, "Tell a joke," and I was like, "All right." He's like, "You're not funny." And I was like, "You're not nice."
All right. Anything else you guys want to mention before we get out of here?
Stream the album at midnight.
Yeah, you stay up tonight till 12 at least, 12:50.
Come to Camp Kevin. Stream the album. Come to a show.
Buy a soft banana. We gonna do cock lobster stickers, right?
Yes.
Buy a cup. Stay tuned for the what is it? Penis Christ stickers coming soon. Like a gown and like a halo.
All right, I'm going to go over everything one more time here. The new album by Elephants Dancing, The Chronicles of Kevin and Ringo, will be released this Friday, July 11th, on all major streaming platforms. The All Ages Camp Kevin Music Fest returns to Pisano Family Wines in Hunlock Creek on Saturday, July 12th, with live reggae and rock bands playing on 2 stages from noon to 10:30. Tickets are on sale now. Kids under 8 are free.
12.
Yeah, I definitely was supposed to
The
make that
typo.
12.
They're really close.
I was supposed to make that 12, but
12.
Well, even better.
Just say they're 8.
yeah.
They got like braces and stuff. You're just like, ah. Show me your ID, birth certificate. Anyway.
All right. Anything else you guys want to mention?
Thanks for having us on, man.
Yes,
Thank
but
you,
I won't
Rich.
do that to you guys.
Thanks for letting us sit on the couch first.
You know.
You're
Here's,
very welcome.
I got a funny suggestion. So next time we come here,
Yeah.
where is it? That.
Mm-hmm.
Pull up this one and the old one next time we're here in a few years.
Ah, okay.
So you could be like, this question was crazy because I asked you some wild stuff back then.
Yes.
I
yes,
did.
yeah.
I apologize for that, but that would be hilarious to see right now. It's like, here's what you asked me. Remember that?
No.
We were at the V spot.
No.
We were at the V spot, and I was like lounging.
Okay.
And I was just
All
like,
right,
now
all
I'm gonna ask you questions. All right, we can go. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to dig back into our archives,
Do it.
You could find our COVID fever dream podcast that we did at the V Spot.
You called that
We had
if
you
you want.
guys, we had Modern Ties, we had a couple other people, and we just interviewed them. Spread out, so there was enough room between everybody because it's COVID times and all that kind of stuff. And we all, made sure there were masks and all kinds of things. I mean, not when we were talking, but we were far enough away. But we did a whole bunch of podcasts during that time that everybody tuned in for because nobody had anything else to do. Everybody was stuck inside at the time. I don't know if we had any more people watching the podcast than we did then, but they were fun, but they were really weird. It was definitely it was a really strange way to do it.
Yeah, and
I
now
think we had a good time.
Yeah, I did. Yeah, now nobody just washes their hands anymore.
Yeah, now it's the opposite. Everybody's like, nope, we're done with all of it.
Yeah.
But you guys did wash your banana
Yes.
before you came here, which
Very
I
yes.
greatly appreciate
Decently well.
that you went out of your way to do that.
Yes. Well, it's not.
It's not perfect.
Yeah. It's still got little mole. Everybody likes the moles, though. People like moles sometimes. Dan likes moles. He said. Shout out Dan.
Shut her down.
Thanks,
Thank you.
everybody.
Thanks so much for tuning in. If you enjoyed the show, make sure you give it a like, comment, share, all that good stuff so that the algorithm likes what we're doing and keeps showing it to more and more people. So, now that we have all our new setup and everything like that, we'll be back to doing it on a regular basis again. So we'll see you here probably next Wednesday from 7 till kind of whenever. So thanks so much and have a good night, everybody.
I'm sorry.